NOMMA Education Foundation. Few housekeeping items before we start. I'm going to leave everyone unmuted, but since we record this presentation for others, if there's a lot of background noise coming from your location, I will mute you, but you will still be able to ask questions using the chat option. And I will be looking at those questions and interrupting Charlie with them. So we are very pleased this afternoon to have Charlie Martin of Manufacturing Matters. He is a consultant with experience in numerous manufacturing environments, including job shops, fabricating shops, and tool and die shops, as well as large corporations. Charlie, it's all yours.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. Well, good morning by my time. I'm in Oregon. I'd like to thank you folks for this opportunity. I really appreciate this opportunity to address you. And I want to really thank Todd for inviting me and Martha for setting this up. I'd also like to, my intent for this presentation is to, well, I want to move quickly through it, but my intent is to complement an article that came out in the last issue of your Fabricator magazine. And hello? There you go. An article that came out in the last issue of your Fabricator magazine on 5S. I'd like this presentation to complement that, not to duplicate it, but to complement it. And also, if we have time today, and I want to create some time, to go briefly about a dozen slides at the end of this presentation to show you where 5S leads. It leads to an area of visual controls, and that, by the way, is the subject of our upcoming article in the next issue of Fabricator magazine. So if that's okay, any questions before we get started? Or can I just move through this? Okay? Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
All right, fine. Here's our agenda. I want to describe what 5S is, why do it, why should you bother doing this 5S stuff, and then how to do it. And again, if we've got time, we'll get into where 5S leads. So let's look at some quick photographs. Would you rather work in a place like this? Would you rather work here, or would you rather work here? And again, would you rather work this kind of spot? Or would you rather work here? Now these pictures were all taken at Madden Fabrication here in Portland, and they're not suggested to be before and after pictures as much as they're pictures during the 5S event that we did there a few weeks ago, a couple of months ago. And by the way, the 5S stuff is not just about the shop floor. For those of you that have a nice cushy office, tend to think, well, this 5S and this lean stuff is all about organizing the shop floor, guys. It's got nothing to do with me. Not true. You're not off the hook. You can apply these techniques and 5S stuff to your office environment too, and we'll see how to do that. Okay, that's actually my office. That's where I am right now. And if you look real close, you can see NOMMA 5S on that computer screen. I thought that was kind of fun. Okay, let's look at some definitions of 5S, what it means. I've got a couple of definitions here. So 5S is a way of organizing the workplace so that everything has a place. Everything has a place. There's a place for everything, and the things are easy to understand. It's about, that's where it leads into this visual stuff. It's about things that are easy to understand. Here's another definition. It lays the foundation for a visual, efficient workplace. So not only is it about workplace organization, but it also lays a foundation of these lean techniques. 5S is one of the fundamental foundational ones. You find that a lot of them build on 5S. You can go as just use 5S and not do anything else if you wish, You could just do workplace organization and leave it at that, if you wish. But if you want to continue further, then 5S is a foundation, sort of a bit of a discipline that the other lean tools build on. Here's the easy definition. Here's the one. There's the only one you need to remember. It's a place for everything and everything in its place at its most fundamental form. That's the bumper sticker definition, and it's the way most of us were brought up as kids. You know, it's go clean your room. It looks like a pigsty. The little whack on the head here, though, is the second statement I've thrown up here. You should be able to find anything within 5 seconds. Think about that. It's pretty obvious that if I've got a shadow board alongside my work area on the shop floor, I can put my most frequently used hand tools there, and frequently used hand tools and reach for those within 5 seconds. But what if I'm in the office? What if I tell you that if somebody calls into the office and you can't tell a client, a customer who wants to know the progress of their job, you can't say, well, Martha's on vacation or she's off sick today, but she might be in tomorrow, she'll get back with you then. You need to be able to find information within 5 seconds too. So whether it's in a file cabinet or in a computer, those things can be organized in the same way, using the same kind of discipline and techniques. What is 5S? Well, it's actually in the lean world, it comes from 5 Japanese words that you don't need to memorize, but they were translated into 5 English-American words that we've decided were a sort, set in place, shine, standardize, and sustain. And we're going to go through each of those in detail here. Again, though, it's not just a linear thing where we go through those things and we're done. We go through these steps and we're done. Think of it as a philosophy of continuous improvement. We're never really finished. And the most difficult one of these aspects of 5S, these elements, is the sustain part. Why do 5S? Reduces searching time. Obviously, you're not going on these search missions looking for tools and who's got my screwdriver or whatever it is, who's got my wrench. So it reduces searching time on the floor, reduces frustration. It also enhances safety. A more organized and cleaner place is a safer place to work. You're not tripping over stuff. Improves morale? Yeah, working in a messy shop is bad enough if it's your own mess. But if it's somebody else's, it's really demoralizing. Create space? Yes, I've worked with people in the past who original reason for engagement was they wanted to move to a new facility. They wanted to spend money, a couple of $1 million on a new facility because they were running out of space. When we looked at how they were using their space and did some 5S and some improvements in process flow and layout, they had plenty of space. So it saved people some money there. And last but very much not least, it looks good when customers visit. You should feel proud of your shop, and when customers visit, it can be a bit of a show place. This place is well organized. These guys have got their act together, and I'm going to give them work based on that. And that happens. Here's a picture. It might have nothing to do with this 5S presentation, except it's a company I've worked with for several years that has a fleet of helicopters, and they've heavy lift helicopters, and they've really embraced 5S as a philosophy. They've taken it to places where I take other people there as a showcase. And we have a couple of slides covered up there too. It very much fits with the discipline and stuff. Very much fits with their environment, as you can imagine. So where do we start? Well, you can start with an eyesore area, the obvious eyesore area. I like to start. My suggestion is the two at the bottom here. I start with an area, pick on some low-hanging fruit. Pick an area with the best chance of success, and an area with enthusiastic operators. The operators, the people in that area, the shop floor guys, are the ones that you're going to be working with doing the actual 5S, and they need to be enthusiastic about it, and otherwise it won't work. So going through the 5S, elements of 5S in detail, the first one is sort. Define the area that we're going to 5S. And we need to define it, and you need to really delineate it, because we need to define what the area is and what's in this area and what's not. And don't bind off too big a chunk at first, because you'll find this sort area might be a little bit more time consuming than you originally planned. Maybe you should tape it off, maybe you should put some chalk lines on the floor, but define exactly what's in this area and what isn't. First thing we do is remove all the items from this area, and we put them into 3 piles. Basically, and this is fundamental, we put things into 3 piles. So we take all the stuff out of an area, put it into 3 piles on the floor. There are things that we use every day. There are things we use occasionally or frequently when we do that particular job for that particular client. We use this fixture, this gauge, this particular tool. And then there are items in the third category that fit the area of, or fit the category of, I've worked on this bench for 3 years, this stuff's been under my bench, I don't know what it is. That third category is stuff that we basically don't use. Now that third category, oh yeah, so when I say define the boundaries of the areas, you're going to find yourself opening cupboards and there'll be an avalanche of things fall out. Be prepared for some surprises. Here we have open the cupboard, I wonder what's in here. And it turns out to be a bunch of pressure gauges for welding tanks. We're going to go through this stuff. We've got to decide which ones are still usable and separate them and stuff. So, no use going through a 5S area and then discover all this stuff in the cupboard in the middle of the area that you forgot about. So, the third category, those items that we never use, we're going to take those and we're going to put them in a special area. Think of this area as a quarantine area. In the lean world, it's usually described as a red tag area, and we'll see why. The red tag area is a designated area for these not sure what they are items. Large shops tend to tie a red tag to each item in that area, and they cordon off the area and call it a red tag area, and it's quarantined. We don't want these items creeping back into production. So this red tag area is an area that's set aside. It's off in a corner someplace, and then company management and a historian. By a historian, all your shops have these historians. It's a person, a guy or a gal that's been there a long time, that knows everything, and they go through the area and describe, oh, hey, I've been looking for that piece. We wondered where that tool had got to. Or they decide this is usable, this is fixable, or this is something we need to get rid of or put it on eBay or something. So that's what the red tag area is for. It's for those not sure what they are items. And here's a kind of blurry picture of a red tag area, cordoned off, and each item in here has a tag on it. Another picture of a red tag area. They're holding areas, they're quarantine areas. And again, in large shops, somebody needs ownership of this area. Who's managing it? It could be a shop floor person, it could be a foreman, it doesn't matter. And the items that are tagged, the reason for tagging them is we put a date on there, description of the item, what we think it is, where we found it, and the reason for red tagging it. We don't use it anymore, we think it needs fixing or something. The reason for the date is because one of our ground rules, one of your ground rules is we're going to say we're going to have this red tag area and we're going to set it up in a corner of the shop and we're going to put a date on everything, and if nobody's claimed an item or we don't find a use for it within, let's say, 3 months, we're going to get rid of it. Otherwise, things will languish in this area forever. So this red tag area might be a part of an ongoing process as you 5S different areas of the shop. I had a bad cold last week and still getting my voice back, so occasionally I'm stopping for a sip of some tea. So we've done our red tag stuff. The second part of the 5S elements is this shine. We've taken all the clutter out of an area. What we now want to do is give it a good thorough cleaning. So we want to clean the area, and we want to clean those items that are going back in there, that we know are going back in there, that returning to the area. There's another aspect of shine too that again is fundamental and important. Shine is not just about cleaning. Shine is also inspecting. And so when we're cleaning an item, we're looking for leaky hoses or frayed cords, things that would be a downtime issue in the future that we can fix right now, things that could be a safety hazard that we can fix right now. Cleaning is inspection. It's not just cleaning. And before we put items back into an area, machine tools and equipment, how about a fresh coat of paint? I mean, that really picks up the morale. This particular area is another company I work with several on and off for about 4 years. Haven't been in there for about 4 years, but this is a recent photograph. It's a large earth-moving equipment, heavy equipment manufacturer, and part of the stuff they make is hydraulic cylinders. They make their own hydraulic cylinders. And we put together a little manufacturing cell just to specialize in making their cylinders. It turned out to be a great little success story. And when we set it up and moved it into its own area, probably about half a dozen employees, and it's got enough work to keep them shift and a half. They decided to steam clean all the equipment as they were moving it and give it a fresh coat of paint. I was in there a few months ago taking some of these pictures, and the place looks even better than it did when I last was there. So it's great. And you can see things. There's nothing out of place there. They've got shadow boards and things marked where they use them. So we've sorted out all the items. We've done step one. We've got our red tag area. We've cleaned the area. We've cleaned the items. We've brought them back in. We need to set things in place, and we need to use common sense locations where things go. Within the area itself, we should use shadow boards. Obviously, some pictures of that. Labels, color coding. Keep items off the floor, and the goal is to find everything within 5 seconds. Keep items off the floor. That's hard to do, but it really is. If you can do it, I would really encourage that. It's hard to keep a place clean if you've got a lot of things on the floor. It's best to put them on shelves, low shelves and stuff, or equipment you can wheel out of the way so you can clean it, so you can clean around it, because we want to keep the place clean. Set in place. Items go, here's that picture again, items go on a shadow board, frequently used stuff, hand tools and stuff within easy reach of the fabricator, the welder, the operator. And items that we use occasionally when we do particular jobs. We want to put those in a visible spot, call it a tool room or on a shelf. And again, these are marked. We're in the process of doing that here. We put a profile around them so we know not only where things go, but when they're missing. And these items need to be clearly labeled and in good working condition. We don't want to go to the tool room to grab a hand drill or drill motor or whatever and find it doesn't work. So you're looking at this stuff, but you're thinking about, well, this is costing me a fortune. what's it saving me? It's so we're always looking at the bottom line and stuff. But I'm suggesting that this stuff doesn't need to be expensive. Fabrication shops typically have a little bit of feast and famine. There's some downtime. Yeah, you're paying people to clean this area, but they're on the payroll anyway. So schedule your doing a 5S in an area, obviously around some downtime, and don't spend a bunch of money on these shadow boards. We're not building them out of steel and stuff. I like to lay them out on cardboard on the shop floor at first, and then buy some pegboard and freshly coated pegboard, paint around it, because whatever we put on shadow boards, whether it's on the stock room or especially in the area, it's going to change within a month or two. People are going to say, you put this set of wrenches up here, I don't use all these. So it's an ongoing process. It doesn't have to be expensive. I want to show you a really creative example here. Here's back in our helicopter maintenance organization. So I walked in here one week and they're all excited to show me the what they've done with 5S in their hangar operations. The hangar operation is a shop that works on the outer skin of the helicopters. I mean, there's various shops. It's about a dozen shops. I work mostly in with the jet engines. So I walk in there and they're all proud to show me this 5S thing that they wheel out alongside each helicopter as they're working on it. And my first thing is, oh my God, this must have cost them a fortune. It didn't. It didn't. There was a company, a shop going out of business, a company going out of business, Hollywood Video, that nobody rents the videos anymore in the store. You download them on Netflix or whatever. So there was a bunch of these things that they picked up for practically nothing, and they adapted really well to the consumables, to the fasteners and rivets and stuff just fit in these slots where the videos used to go, and they labeled them, and on the sides they've got the tape that they use. And another backside picture. Here we go. Here's a backside picture of their solutions. They need cleaning solutions and stuff. All this stuff has to be dated because they can't. Everything in the helicopter operations has to be tracked and dated and stuff like that. So this really helped them a lot, and it didn't cost a bunch of money. Okay. Any questions? How we doing? We okay? Keep moving on. Okay. Standardize. The fourth step in this lean stuff is standardize. The place looks great. How do we keep it this way? This is where things start to get hard. Well, we keep it this way by setting some time aside on a daily basis, a weekly basis, and it doesn't have to be much, just 5 minutes at the end of each day to clean up, get the broom out, clean up, and maybe 15 minutes at the end of the week for telling people to keep the area clean, put things back. We need easy access to cleaning stations. By a cleaning station, think about a shadow board within easy access to your areas with a broom and a dustpan and some cleaning supplies. Make it easy for people to do the right thing. And then maybe we publish some cleaning standards. Again, depending on how big the shop is, we may publish some cleaning standards on some photographs on this is the way the place used to look, here's the way it now looks. Here's a list of things I want you to do on a daily, weekly basis that you guys should figure out yourselves how to do, but it needs to stay this way. So standardize is the fourth step, and it's standardized because we need to set cleaning standards, and we need to have them uniform throughout the shop. And I have some examples of some cleaning standards. By the way, I can make this stuff available through Martha and stuff, some of these forms and things if you eventually want them. So here's some cleaning standards that will be posted in the area that suggest here's what we'd like you to do on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis. And if this sounds a bit like preventive maintenance kind of stuff, it sort of is. 5S stuff blends and meshes really well with PM programs. Define who does what and where, and if you're working in teams, let them come up with that and manage it as much as possible themselves. There's the last dot here is, this is the first step towards a sustainable 5S effort. We've got to sustain this stuff, and that's the hard part. Sustaining is and again, depends on the size of the shop, how sophisticated, if that's the right word, you want to get into sustaining things. Basically, because what we're talking about here is a fundamental shift in working habits and maybe even company culture. So anyone that's tried to have a habit they wanted to change knows how difficult it is. And 5S can be thought of as changing company habits. So some places would want to measure 5S, how we do it on sorting and setting order. Are things clean the way they're supposed to, the way they used to be? Are they things put back the way they used to be? Are we sustaining it? Are our standards still working? And they score it. And that's a little diagram there, 5S scoring. Meanwhile, back in the cylinder cell, and the thing I want to emphasize here is that really impressed me. I haven't been in this place for 3 or 4 years, and you can see. So imagine they 5S this place 4 years ago, but you can see on the floor there around John, the only chips on the floor are the chips that he's producing right now. He's making a batch of what they call stuffing boxes that go inside the hydraulic cylinders. But you can see off to the right there, if my pointer works, there all the cutting tools they need, or there's a place for those, and they're labeled. There's other little drawers and cabinets for more cutter inserts and maybe some gauges or taps and stuff. And again, there's a place for everything. Everything is placed, and stuff is well labeled. Even the hose, is not draping on the floor if they use coolant. The hose is not draped on the floor. It's hanging here. So, and it's a fresh coat of paint. So these guys have done a great job of 5S stuff, and they also, as a team, they're sort of self-managed in the sense that we set up some standards. This is what we'd like you guys to measure and track, and so they measure their productivity, how many labor hours they produce per how many labor hours per hydraulic cylinder. They measure their own quality. They measure their on-time delivery. They work closely with engineer and with scheduling person. Set their own goals. And one of the other things they measure is they measure their own 5S stuff. So here's a board. When you walk into the cylinder cell, here's a board there that they have, and here you can see graphs of productivity and on-time delivery and first pass yield quality stuff. And in the center here, in the center is this another one. In the center is this 5S audit sheet. So on a regular basis, I don't know how regular, maybe once a week or once a month, they go around and they score themselves. How well are we? Where's our 5S score? And here they've given themselves a score of 4.5 out of a possible 5, which I think is realistic. And by the way, that's a high score. Most shops would score around 3 or so. Doing 5S would score around 3. It's pretty high standard, but it's all part of the self-managing continuous improvement stuff. So they're a good showcase, and I occasionally refer people to go see what you can do with this 5S stuff. Here's a good example. We're changing habits. We're changing habits, and we want to prevent items from creeping back. Things getting dirty, nobody cleans up. Items left in the aisles, or we got these 5S activities, we got these standards, but we haven't completed them. We don't do them on schedule. And this is not unusual, and it's not unusual to find places slipping back a couple of times before they really embrace it and move on. So you don't beat yourself up too much on this stuff. You just recognize it, that changing habits is can be difficult. Things to do, though. to avoid the slipping back is train all employees in 5S. 5S is not complicated from a training point of view. It's pretty simple. Conduct regular 5S audits. Doesn't have to be, the audits can be simple. If it's a small shop, it can be a simple walkabout where if you're the boss, the foreman, the works manager, whatever title, whatever you illustrate as being important to you, people will know that and follow it. And so on a regular basis, if when you're out in the shop, you're talking about, you know, I see the place is getting kind of tacky again. Tools aren't being put back, or things are getting dirty again. We need to then people will follow that. So the audit could be a simple walkabout, or we could have the formal scoring mechanism. We need to find a place that fits your style, your company culture. But stress the importance. It's like safety. Stress the importance of 5S in all employee communication. So getting started. Select an area with best chance for success. Pick a team, pick a bunch of victims. Must include the operators. And it would be nice if people out of the office came out and rolled their sleeves up and dived in too. Train the team. That's not a big deal. Do some prior planning. What kind of stuff do we need? Well, we need some cleaning rags and some floor tape, and we need a labeler. We need some pens and scissors, and we take some pictures. Take some pictures that we're going to use for before pictures. And then the obvious one here is make sure the area is ready. We don't want to walk out there one day, a bunch of people walk out there and, hey, we can't do a 5S. We've got this big production job we need to get out. So no surprises. Inform everybody. This is what we're doing tomorrow and for the next 2 days or something. No surprises. Ensure success. We need to build on success. We need to congratulate people when it's done. Take some after pictures. So we've got before and after pictures, and we're going to post those. Post them in the area. We're going to determine regular cleaning standards. Determine those with the people in the area. Don't impose them. It's sort of like, how do we keep it this way? Let's make some notes and then we'll publish them. And maybe we do that in cahoots with maintenance people too. Conduct regular audits, and then build on the success. This one area was successful. It looks great. People come in and compliment it. Let's continue this momentum going and build on success and do other areas in the shop too. And then don't forget 5S in the office. It's a cartoon I like. Don't take this stuff too seriously. Yeah, it's manufacturing, it's business, it's serious, but we can't take it too seriously. And this is a cartoon I like by Gary Larson, Far Side, years ago, where poking fun at, maybe he was poking fun at some of the 5S stuff, but I like that. This is good. Okay. So we have time to go beyond 5S. Are there any questions thus far? Yeah, let's go beyond 5S and see where it leads. I want to go into a little bit of a tickler for an article that's coming up in your next Fabricator magazine. So 5S leads to a topic called visual controls, or visual manufacturing, or the visual factory, or whatever. And you can see the connection between 5S and this concept of visual controls. And shadow boards are basically a form of visual control. The visual, they're obvious. There's a place for everything, and when things are missing, it's obvious. So they're a fundamental form of visual control. So 5S complements visual control. There's visual controls. Visual controls complement several lean tools. And there's a couple more listed here. 5S, point of view storage, plant layout, quick setup. They're all complemented by by these aspects of visual controls. We want to make things as visual as possible, because that's where most people learn, and that's where, especially in a multicultural, multi-language environment. So 5S, here's visual controls in 5S. Here's a simple 5S shadow board alongside some machine tool. And the person here, the operator, has chosen to paint theirs yellow. Now, why have they painted it yellow? Because one of the first things you do in an area when you set up a shadow board is it makes it really easy for you to find your tools. It also makes it pretty easy for other people to find them too. So it's not unusual to find people swiping your stuff off your shadow board. The obvious solution to that is when we find the tools or replace them, I'll paint my tools yellow. The next cell can paint theirs red and green and chartreuse or whatever. Keeps things in their area. Point of view storage. Here's a technique that a colleague of mine took in a mattress factory, a furniture mattress factory, and whereas it used to be the saw guy would get his cut list, his production control cut list from the computer, and then the mattress assembly guys would be, there was always this discussion because things would get out of kilter. So it's solved in this physical, and we don't need the computer telling you what to cut next. We've got the line of all these different pieces of wood for different size mattresses, and behind each one is the simple green, yellow, and red traffic lights. The assembly people come over and take the pieces they need, and I, as the saw operator, look and see how the level's going down. And when it gets down into the yellow, and especially when it gets down close to the red, that's my signal to make another batch of those sticks and fill it up into the green. More on that later. But that's a great one. It's foolproof. It's a lot better than, what would you rather believe, the computer system or the or what's obvious? Plant layout, visual controls, delineating what's an aisle, what's manufacturing place, what's a red tag area, and quick setup. When we use visual controls, this is maybe a punch press, and when we put the yellow die in, we use the yellow bolts for clamping. The red die takes the red bolts. Dead simple, dead obvious, and but saves a lot of time and frustration sorting through a bag of bolts. Excuse me. We use visual controls in everyday life. We use them, we take them for granted, we don't even think about them. The most obvious, of course, is the traffic light. And this is great. Green means keep going, everything's fine. Amber, yellow means caution, you know. We need to do something. Red is a warning. We're going to be out of parts pretty soon. So we can adapt this universal, almost universal, traffic lights thing and apply it to the shop floor as a visual control, shop floor office. Here's a great picture I found. This is a brilliant picture of a visual control. I mean, if you hit this sign, you'll hit the bridge. Rather than paint, you know, your truck or whatever needs to be less than 13.5 meters high or something, so I hope you carry a tape measure. You don't get any more simple and more obvious and more visual than this. You hit the sign, you'll hit the bridge. So we use visual controls in everyday life, and there's lots of others, examples. And that we can apply, we can adapt and adopt to our fabrication, our manufacturing environment. Visual controls can help better manage your supplies, whether they're shop floor supplies, consumables, or office supplies, and they can help schedule your shop. And we'll show a couple of examples here of again stuff that we're in the process of doing with Madden. So here's use of a thing called Kanban cards, and Kanban is a word, Japanese word for signal, and so we're going to use these little Kanban cards along with some traffic light ideas for helping us not run out of shop floor supplies. Can be used for replenishing production parts, as in that mattress factory, where the assembly area pulls product from the supplier upstream manufacturing areas. Again, we don't need, you can simplify the production control issues by using Kanban cards or by using the traffic light signal. So we can use these for replenishing production parts or for shop and office supplies. Show you a quickie example. So here we've got grinding wheels, grinding discs, and you can see the stack of grinding discs here, and behind the stack of discs there's a green stripe and then there's a yellow stripe, and alongside the yellow stripe we placed one of these Kanban cards. What this means is when the operator is pulling the discs, they get down to the last disc above that card. They pull that disc and they need now to pull that card and hang it on a hook that's just off to the right. You can't see it, but it's just off to the right. Make it easy. When you get down to this level, these discs, pull that Kanban card and hang it on a hook, and that hook tells the supplier or the foreman, we're running out of these discs, we need to order some more. So that's the trigger. And here's a sample of those Kanban cards. There's two cards. There's a fixed card that goes behind the stack of wheels, and that's basically a label, and that's on the right here. And we've got it numbered. And then the
Yeah, let me just jot it down here.
the Kanban card has a hole in it that slips over the stack of discs, and also the hole is for hanging it on a hook. So we've got a card number, we've got what the part number is, we've got a description of it. It's a 4.5-inch disc, 7/8 hole, 36 grit, and who we're buying it from. Our supplier. The lead time, five days. The reorder point is 25. When we get down to 25 of these discs, we need to pull the card, and that's basically his purchase order. When we get down to 25 discs, we order 50 more.
Right. Well, I'll send it out on a priority.
Coincidentally or not so, they come in boxes of 25. So basically, when we get down to the last box level, we order 2 more boxes. It's pretty simple. And Greg has chosen to put the price on here, so we remind people these things aren't free. You can see the next one down. Those wheels are pretty expensive, $7 a piece. So it's pretty obvious to people tracking the cost of the items. So we pull the card. It's hanging on a hook. We're continuing to use these discs. When we get down into the red area, we start to get nervous, and we hope the guy shows up pretty soon. Or if we're really nervous, we'll be making a panic phone call. But anyway, basically it's self-managing, and it works. Here's a big picture looking back. Here we go. Here's a line of grinding wheels, grinding discs, and you can see the fixed label behind each one, and the Kanban card halfway down. There's the green stripe, and the Kanban card lines up behind it on the yellow stripe, and off in the center left here is a little diagram of how the system works, and I can show you that briefly. So the welder comes up to the grinding wheel rack, takes the last grinding wheel, or takes the one down on the Kanban card, takes the card and hangs it on the reorder post just off to his right. Again, make it easy to do that. We don't have to walk into the office and tell anybody. We just take that card and hang it on the right. That's the reorder post, and we've painted it red. The supplier comes in and looks at those, and basically those are his purchase orders. He converts them to a purchase order, and then he takes those same cards and hangs them on the green post right alongside the red one that tells people, yeah, those are on order. And 2 days later or whatever, he comes in with the replacement parts, takes the cards off the green post, and puts them back with the new discs and wheels back where they belong, alongside the yellow reorder stripe, and the cycle starts again. Visual scheduling. So we can think about a visual way of helping. Not only do we avoid running out of shop supplies, shop consumables, which is a pain, but also we don't want people running out of work or jobs stopping halfway through the day for various reasons. So what we've started doing at Madden is there's a brief meeting, a toolbox meeting, 5-10 minutes to start of each day in front of in front of a schedule board, which I'll show you a picture of in a second. Everyone knows at a glance who's working on which job and can speak up as whether they need any help or not, whether they're getting behind or whether they might think they need some help. The idea is to reduce surprises here, and so that, again, so the jobs ship on time, complete on time. So here's a snapshot of the visual schedule board. And again, the idea is to take stuff out of a computer. There's nothing wrong with computers and stuff, but it's nice to take information out of a computer and make it visible to everybody. So down the left side here, down the left side is a list of all the jobs that are currently in the shop, and then days of the week across the top. These cards are different phases of the same job. So, for instance, this could be a job that we're going to start on Wednesday. It's going to be in the soil. We're going to cut material. On the next day, we've got enough hours. We're going to be second phase is fabricating it, welding it, and the third phase is maybe painting it and shipping it. So every morning now we can address how's that job doing. Is it going to go on time? Do you have the equipment you need? Do you have the tools that you need? The supplies that you need? And do you need any help? So this is the attempt at visual scheduling. Doesn't have to look exactly like this. This is one of those things like shadow boards. You like the idea, you try it in your own place, and you don't spend a bunch of money on this. You lay it out on a whiteboard with dry erase markers, so you change things around, because it'll change a couple of times. And here's another example of the schedule board. Here's an example at one of the maintenance shops at the helicopter company, and again there's about a dozen different shops there. Several of the shops have embraced these schedule boards, but they've tailored them to their own needs. This one is, I believe, it's accessories. So it's accessories, valves, and maybe fuel control components and stuff that have a lot to do with the jet engines. And what they've got down here on the left vertical column here, what they've got is people's names. So rather than the jobs, the cards are the actual jobs. What they've got down here are people's names. What they've got along the top axis here are the different phases of the jobs. There's the tear down phase, there's the repair phase, the building, machining phase, wherever parts go, and then there might be the test phase. And then each of these cards represents a different job. The colors are the salmon color are in-house jobs. Those are jobs that we're doing for our own fleet of helicopters. And the yellow ones are customers' jobs. So we can see, again, at a glance, whether it's a customer job or one of our own jobs, and obviously we want to give priority for shipping on time and stuff to customer jobs. And again, there's a brief toolbox meeting held in front of this every day. The ones on top are the ones here are work in process. The ones at front, these are jobs we haven't started yet. They're in queue. Okay, I think we're about done. Yeah, this is probably my last slide. So as a recap, we've described the overview of 5S, what it is, why do it, and how to do it, and then how 5S leads to this other thing of visual controls, done some brief show and tell on that, and how you can apply some visual control techniques to help manage shop supplies or office supplies and help with scheduling on the shop floor. So, okay, I am about done. I thought this would take about 45, 50 minutes. Any questions? I hope these techniques are applicable.
I cannot see the chat feature. So
you can't?
No, I've been locked out for some reason. So if, Charlie, if you can see chat now, you may see some questions in there.
I can't see it. What can I do to see it?
There's no way. But if you are on audio, you can ask questions now. Charlie, you must have explained it all.
I must have explained it all. Well, I hope these techniques are applicable to your business environment. I'm interested how I can help further, and I've got a little thing at the end here. Where do you go for more information about lean stuff and how you can apply them to your own unique environment? There's my email address, and I would encourage you to email me questions. I have no problem at all. I'd enjoy getting back with you over email address and stuff. And if I can't answer it quickly over email, I'll point you in other directions. For instance, there's a company publishes and have done for 20, 30 years, Productivity Press. They come out with a great line of books. Some of them quite thick and nerdy, but there's a series that they publish called the Shop Floor series. They're almost thin paperbacks, and you can get them on 5S and setup reduction and all these different topics, and they're great. I've frequently bought those and left them with companies. I used to belong to what was called the Oregon MEP. There's a network, a national network of organizations called MEPs, the Manufacturing Extension Partnerships, and they're not-for-profit, so government subsidized. You still pay money, but it's somewhat subsidized, and they're sprinkled throughout the states. They're very much, I think, before my time, but there was an agricultural thing years ago. These agricultural centers around the nation. I think these MEP networks is modeled on that. But in your area, you can find within driving distance, an MEP folks that can come out and help train you in lean stuff. Or just do the current thing. There's plenty of stuff available on the internet. Browse the internet and find out the stuff applies. Okay.
Charlie, thank you so much. It was wonderful.
Does somebody want a question?
Yes, Charlie, this is James Mentor. When you worked with Greg Madden out in Portland, how long did that process take to get him up to speed on this?
It's an ongoing thing. I've been working there for maybe 9 months, but I only go out about once a week. And there's other stuff I'm doing besides the 5S. We changed the layout, and we've done some process improvement to some of the jobs that he's doing. 5S is one aspect of what we're doing, and it's one that's could be more easily shared as opposed to the products that he's building and stuff. So it's an ongoing thing, and I was working there probably a couple of hours once a week. I'm still out there. I still work with him. Is that okay? What?
Yes.
Charlie, can you hear me?
Now I worked with him under the guise of the Oregon MEP, and the project I did was subsidized. You could talk to Greg and ask him if he felt it was financially beneficial.
Hey, Charlie, can you hear me? This is Greg.
Hey, Greg. Yeah, could you want to answer that chap's question?
Yeah, James. Yeah, it has been actually pretty close to a year, but
okay.
Like Charlie says, he's been in routinely about 1 or 2 hours a week. But we do, of course, being a smaller shop, we do miss meetings once in a while. But it's really, a lot of work happens after he leaves. But a lot of it is just, I tried to use the chat mode when he was through some of the talk on the Kanban. But just implementing the Kanban that we did, we found a huge amount of inventory that we didn't know existed. And, I just estimated just using that led to some of those price markers I put on my Kanban cards that, we had about $300 or $400 worth of consumables that we didn't need, or excess inventory, basically. So I hope that, gives you a little bit of indication that, with just a little bit of effort, that whole project took maybe 3 or 4 hours to put together. We kind of weeded out things that we didn't use all the time, we kind of got down to a regular inventory of what we needed, and then we controlled the amount of inventory. And our vendors working great with us. They're taking on some of the responsibility that we normally have in ordering and coordinating ordering material. So they just come in, look at the cards, pick up what they need. So, it's adding to savings, and we're really just we're building a culture around that I think is really going to pay off in the end.
There's other stuff too that we're doing at Madden too. I didn't mention here, but 5S doesn't take a year to do. We are measuring, like with that cylinder cell, we're measuring productivity, and obviously that translates to cost for Greg. We're measuring productivity and on-time delivery and quality, and how we can reduce lead time of jobs through the shop, which is, it's about cash flow.
Yep. Thank you, Charlie.
Hello?
Other questions? Charlie, thank you so much.
Yeah. Now, Martha, is this this PowerPoint, is it available to people, or what?
If you will send it to me, it will definitely be on our website.
Okay. Yeah, I don't mind. That'd be fine.
Okay, that would be fabulous. And hopefully the recording will be there also.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks. I appreciate it and enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank
Cheers.
you, everyone, for attending.
Thanks. Thanks, Charlie.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you.
See, Charlie, they were out there.
Huh?
They were out there.
They were out there in the great ether. It's a funny. I've talked to people, that do teaching online and stuff, and it's a different environment.
Very
Talking to a blank computer screen.
Yeah.
I'd much rather, talk to a bunch of faces that I can pick on.
I know.
Yeah, but it's okay. I mean, it's cost effective.
Yes.
And I hope
Thank you so much.
Hope it wasn't boring. Okay.
No, it was
That
wonderful.
was great. It was great.
All right. Good stuff. Send me
Now I
emails.
gotta get
Cheers.
there and clean up.
Huh?
Then now I have to go out there and clean up.
Yeah, and do your desk too. Do your office too.
Yeah, if you could only see it.
If it's anything like mine, there you go. Cheers. Bye.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.